So you spent your whole date getting to know each other, talking about me.
Don't flatter yourself. No, we did not spend the whole time talking about you.
Lori Vallow Daybell getting personal as she defends herself in her trial for the conspiracy to murder Charles Vallow.
And were we eating my green chili chicken enchiladas?
Do not remember that.
You do not remember that?
Nope.
Then Lori comes face to face with Charles Vallow's sister, Kay Woodcock.
Did you see or hear or personally witness me conspire with Alex Cox to kill my husband, Charles Vallow?
No, but I saw a ton of evidence that did.
I take a look at the biggest moments from the first week of the trial. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. The first week of Lori Vallow Daybell's trial has ended, and with her representing herself, there were some fireworks. Lori is charged with conspiring with her late brother, Alex Cox, to murder Charles Vallow, her late husband, in July 2019 at her home in Phoenix. Trina Kay, the prosecutor representing the state from Maricopa County, laid out the case against Lori and how she believes Lori and her brother, Alex Cox, used religion to justify what they did.
You will learn that in November of 2018, that Chad Daybell came to Arizona for a Preparing the People conference. And he and others stayed at Lori and Chad's house. Charles was actually out of town with JJ. Lori and Chad acted as if there was nothing between them, but nothing could be further from the truth. By January of 2019, Lori Vallow claimed that Charles Vallow was possessed by an evil spirit that she called Ned. You will see text messages where Lori and Alex refer to him as Ned. Lori, Chad, and Alex used religion, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and a story of Nephi, a prophet, who was directed by the Holy Spirit to kill Laban, to obtain brass plates and secure the long-term prosperity of Nephi's descendants. Lori used this religion and the story of Nephi as justification to kill Charles Vallow, just like Nephi killed Laban.
Then it was time for Lori to give her opening, and remember, she's representing herself.
Evidence will show that Tylee was 3 years old when Charles and I got married, and that when she became a teenager, the relationship between Tylee and her stepfather, Charles, became so difficult that Tylee and Charles had to seek a therapist, a family therapist, to stop them from fighting. The evidence will show that together, Charles and Tylee met with this therapist after we moved back to the mainland in 2017. The evidence will show that in April of 2018, Tylee's biological father passed away from a heart attack. And at that time, Charles called Social Security and made an appointment at the Social Security
I'm
office.
going to object to hearsay.
Sustained.
It will show that we did get Social Security for Tylee for her deceased father until she was 18 years old, and she was 15 years old at the time. The evidence will show that Charles and Tylee's fighting increased greatly in January of 2019 when Charles and I temporarily separated. The evidence will show that several people witnessed these terrible arguments between Tylee and Charles that increased to physical in 2019.
Knowing as much as you can about the people that you let into your life can be very valuable. And that's why having something like truthfinder.com available can be so important. Truthfinder is one of the largest public record search services out there. It's great because it will show you a person's past and current addresses, phone numbers, social media accounts, and of course, criminal and traffic records. If you want to try Truthfinder, you can get 50% off of confidential background reports. Just log on to www.truthfinder.com/LC Crime Fix, log on and start accessing information about almost anyone. Then Lori laid out for the jury what she says happened the morning that Alex shot Charles.
Evidence will show that Charles began to scream at me when I refused to hand him his phone. The evidence will show that Charles' screaming woke up Tylee and Alex. The evidence will show that Tylee came out of her room with a bat to protect me, her mother, from her stepfather, Charles Vallow. The evidence will show that Tylee and Charles fought over the bat, and that after a struggle over the bat, Tylee fell onto the ground, and Charles lifted up the bat to hit Tylee with the bat. The evidence will show that Alex then intervened to protect Tylee from being hit with the bat. He did not have a gun. He was not wearing a shirt. He was pulling up his jeans because he just woke up and came into the room where he heard the screaming. The evidence will show that Alex and Charles got into a physical struggle for the bat and fell onto the ground. The evidence will show that Tylee, who was on the ground, was lifted up by me and sent outside to get away from the struggle and to protect JJ, who was still in the running car, in the rental car in the driveway. The evidence will show that after this struggle on the ground between Charles and Alex, that Charles prevailed with the bat and began to come towards me with the bat as I ran away from him into the kitchen. The evidence will show that at some point while I was running away from Charles, who was chasing me with the bat, that Alex apparently retrieved his gun. The evidence will show that I ran outside to the children and that Alex shot Charles in self-defense. The evidence will show you that I am the only person being charged with this crime.
I would object to the relevance of that.
Sustained.
As the state has mentioned, they are alleging that insurance money was my motive. Social Security was my motive. Spouses having insurance policies is not a crime. Collecting Social Security is not a crime. Self-defense is not a crime. A family tragedy is not a crime. It's a tragedy.
Now, a number of police officers testified, including those who first encountered Lori and Tylee at the crime scene.
Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here?
Sorry?
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
That's why the neighbors took us.
Gotcha.
Like, hi neighbor, sorry.
Are you working at all?
No.
Okay. And you're still about 5'6", and 20?
Did you also get biographical information from teenager?
I did.
Was that Tylee Ryan?
It was.
Let's stop it now. After you had talked with Alex Cox and Lori Vallow, did you go brief some of the detectives about what you had learned?
I did.
Did you tell the detectives that Lori Vallow did not know that her husband Charles was dead?
I told them that I did not advise her of such.
Okay. Did you believe that she did not know that her husband was dead?
I did.
Why did you believe that?
Well, I was under the understanding that this just happened. She just arrived back on scene, and I did not advise her of what happened in the house.
When you spoke with Alex Cox, did he provide additional information that made you believe that she was not present when the shooting happened?
Yes.
Now remember, Lori is representing herself. She was a hairdresser. She's not a lawyer. So there have been some moments during week 1 that you don't usually see in court.
I'm trying to understand, Your Honor. So what the witness observed is not relevant?
I didn't say that. Let's do a sidebar.
Okay, I would love that.
At one point, Judge Boreski told Lori to quit offering comments at the end of testimony, like this.
Firefighter Kaczynski.
Okay, Kaczynski, that's one I didn't have.
Possible depending on the person.
Okay, that's fair.
So we work in tandem together. We're the investigative body and they're the scientific portion of it.
Makes sense.
Teach them to shoot till the threat went away. And that can be with one shot. It can be with more than one shot.
Okay, That's fair.
Now, Detective Daniel Coons testified that the evidence he found at the scene made him believe that Charles Vallow was actually on the floor when Alex Cox shot him a second time. Lori took issue with Coons' findings.
You don't really know what time he was shot, do you?
Actually, no, I don't.
Okay. You don't really know if he was falling back or lying supine on the floor, do you?
Yes, I do.
You don't really know what time my husband actually passed away, do you?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Thank you. No more questions.
But things got really interesting when witnesses with a personal connection to Charles Vallow or Lori testified, including Nancy Jo Hancock, who met Charles on an LDS dating site.
So again, just yes or no, did Charles talk to you about why he was separated from his wife?
Yes.
Based upon your discussions, how long did you think there had been issues going on between Charles and his wife?
For several months, but more intensely since the beginning of that year was 2019, so since the beginning of that year.
You told us that Charles talked to you let me ask you, yes or no, did he talk to you in great detail about his relationship with Lori Vallow?
Yes.
You told us you met on an LDS dating site, right?
Correct.
So are you a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
I am.
Was there anything that you were hearing that you thought were outside of your beliefs?
A lot of things.
As Charles was telling you these things about his wife, can you tell us his demeanor? What his voice was like, what his attitude was like as he's talking about that?
I just remember thinking that he was strangely calm and still kind towards Lori, even through what they were going through.
You told us you were aware he had a child. Did you know where that child lived, who the child lived with?
Yes.
Who was that?
He was living with Lori at that time.
He
had older children as well, but the young one was living with Lori.
You have these conversations with Charles about his wife and these things that to you seem outside the LDS religion. Why do you keep talking to him?
Well, he was very charming and kind and funny and very clever, really good banter. A lot of craziness going on around him, but he seemed pretty awesome.
Nancy Jo Hancock went on just one date with Charles Vallow the night before he was killed.
Meet him in person?
Just once.
What day was that?
He was flying in from Houston, and we had arranged to go to dinner that night. His plane was delayed, and so I met him that night on the 10th of July.
July 10th, was that 2019?
Correct.
And was that then here in Arizona that you met?
It was.
You said that you had original plans to meet and they got pushed back?
Yeah, his plane was delayed, so we met a little later than we were supposed to.
Where did you guys meet? What did you do?
At the Keg restaurant by Santan Mall, and we ate, but we talked until the restaurant closed. We were the last people there.
What were you thinking when you didn't hear from Charles after you spent this night?
I was puzzled how I had misread what I had thought been a good date so wrong that he would not even take the courtesy to reply. Wondered why, but just figured that was what his decision was.
So on July 11th, when you're not hearing back from Charles, did you know that he had been shot and killed?
No.
Now, Nancy Jo Hancock's testimony really riled up Lori. Take a look.
So you did go on a date with a married man.
I went on a date with Charles.
But you did not know he was married.
I knew his divorce was not final.
His divorce was not started.
Okay.
Okay. So in your text messages, you asked Charles if he was a good kisser. Is that correct?
Maybe, sure.
Did he answer that text message?
I'm
gonna
sure.
object to
I'm sure he did.
relevance. Again, 611, harassment.
I'll sustain the objection for relevance and hearsay.
So are you trying to tell me and this jury that you went on one date with my husband and he told you all the details of our lives?
I'm telling you the truth, and that's what I know.
So you spent your whole date getting to know each other, talking about me.
Don't flatter yourself. No, we did not spend the whole time talking about you.
You knew a lot about me, right?
I knew what I've testified to.
What else did you talk about on your date?
Lots of things.
Like what, for instance?
Life, kids, the church, lots of things.
Okay. Did he tell you about anything about our other 4 children?
Yes,
So you knew that we did have 5 children as well?
I did.
Okay. Did he talk to you about my daughter Tylee?
He did.
Did he talk about his relationship with her?
I don't recall that.
Did he talk about the contention in his relationship with my daughter Tylee?
I don't recall that.
I'm sure you don't.
And I'm going to object to comments by the defendant made after questions, testifying.
Let's sustain the objection.
And Lori actually treaded into some pretty dangerous territory.
So there were some text messages between you and my husband after the dinner on July 10th. Is that correct?
Correct.
What time would those text messages have occurred?
After dinner,
What time?
10:45-ish.
10:45 to what?
I'm not certain, ma'am. After dinner.
10:45 to midnight? Maybe?
I just told you I don't know. Maybe.
What did you discuss in those text messages?
And I'm going to object to relevance again. If there's a specific area.
Sustain.
You testified a minute ago that Charles told you a lot of things about his wife. You didn't say ex-wife, but you said wife. Is that correct?
Okay, sure.
What were a lot of things?
The things that I've testified to.
Can you be more specific?
Am I allowed to do a narrative then?
Let's go on sidebar.
So this was a sidebar, so we don't know what was discussed, but Judge Boreski warned Lori that she might want to watch it.
The last question the defendant asked of the witness was along the lines of, what things did you discuss about me, meaning the defendant? Is that correct?
That's what
Yes.
I recall, Your Honor.
Are you sure you wanted to answer that question? Because you're opening up a really big door. If you want her to answer the question, I'll have her answer the question.
How am I supposed to know what a lot of things are?
All right. If you want her to answer the question and there's no objection from the state, we'll
No
bring
objection.
the jury back in and have her answer the question. All right. Let's bring the jury in.
Lori must have calmed down after the lunch break because she didn't end up questioning Nancy Jo Hancock about what Charles said about her in text messages.
Miss Hancock, you said that you had seen on TV that my husband had passed away. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you indicated after that you saw my sister-in-law, Kay Woodcock, on that show and you reached out to her. Is that correct?
I didn't indicate that, but that is correct. I reached out to Kay after I saw that Charles had died.
Okay. And did you do that through Facebook or?
I did.
Social media? Okay. How many times between that first contact and now have you and Kay Woodcock communicated?
I've spoken to her just once. I've texted her here and there regarding I've texted her here and there about other things. I don't know what I can say.
Okay. How many times have you texted her?
I have no idea.
Like more than 10?
Maybe.
Okay.
Then Christina Atwood testified. She was a former friend of Lori's who said Lori had talked with her about Charles months before Alex shot him.
Was there anything that Lori said at this meeting in February-ish of 2019 that she said about Charles that stood out to you?
She was concerned about dark spirits plaguing him.
Did she in fact tell you that he was possessed by dark spirits?
I don't recall.
Now, if it's not bad enough for Lori that her former friend had testified against her, Trina Kay called Lori's brother, Adam Cox, to testify. He had been talking with Charles about staging an intervention to help Lori in July of 2019.
Just yes or no, did you ever talk to Charles about why he and Lori were having marital problems?
Yes.
You yourself personally, were you aware of Lori having any beliefs that were outside of what is accepted by the LDS religion?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you were aware of that you knew to be outside the LDS religion?
Lori told me that she was in the process of translating from a mortal human being to an immortal human being, a celestial state.
That's something that the LDS religion supports?
I haven't heard of it that it's happened here on Earth yet.
Did you ever hear her talking about being married to someone that is relevant in your religion?
Yes, I have heard that.
Did she tell that to you?
I don't know. I can't recall her telling me that, but I remember other people telling me that.
Okay. Was there anything else that you recall her telling you that she believed that seemed outside the LDS religion?
Yes. There was a time where she told me that she had more priesthood authority than the priesthood.
And why, can you explain for us what that means, why that was significant to you?
In our religion, the men hold the priesthood, and she said that she's in a state where she's above that. Okay. I didn't quite understand it, but very strange.
Adam testified about wanting to help Charles stage that intervention for Lori to get her help, but then his and Lori's brother, Alex, shot and killed Charles.
Can you tell us about the story of Nephi?
Nephi? Mm-hmm. Well, Nephi was a prophet in the Book of Mormon. It's the first chapter. He was a prophet, very humble and faithful servant of the Lord. Ironically enough, his brothers tried to kill him at one point. But he actually ended up going to Jerusalem to get these plates back, and he was run off, came back, and then went back again because the Lord asked him to. And when he did, the King Laban, who was actually a wicked king, was laying on the ground drunk in front of him. And Nephi was told to kill Laban.
Who was he told by?
The spirit, or, yeah, okay. God.
So God was using a Holy Spirit to tell him to kill Laban? And
yes.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Was that something he anguished over?
Yes.
But ultimately, it was a justified killing.
Yes.
On cross-examination, Lori worked to put some distance between her and Adam.
Mr. Cox, how long has it been since we've seen each other in person?
Don't know.
When was the last time you saw me?
I don't recall.
So, has it been a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6
Something like
years,
that.
7 years, 8 years?
Something.
Okay. So, you have no idea.
Nope.
You have no idea when the last time you saw me in person.
I don't know the year or how many years it's been.
Okay. So, did you see me at Colby's wedding in January 2018?
No, I was not there.
You didn't come to Colby's wedding.
No, I did not.
So, did you see me sometime that year at my house
Possibly.
where Colby got married? That house.
I did see you at that house, yes.
At least one time.
Yes.
So, possibly in 2018.
Yes.
And when was the last time we had any communications?
The last time I remember our communications was you and I were speaking in the kitchen when the family was over.
Okay.
And Lori seemed to get a little angry that Adam did not remember her signature dish.
And were we eating my green chili chicken enchiladas?
Do not remember that.
You do not remember that?
Nope.
Is that what I made every time we had a family get together, which was like 10 times a year?
I don't remember that.
Okay. And when was the last time that we had a phone call or text message?
I have no idea.
Could it possibly be around that exact same time?
Possibly.
Okay.
Lori ended the cross of her brother this way.
Did you see with your eyes or hear with your ears or personally witness me conspire with my brother, Alex Cox, to murder my husband, Charles Vallow?
No.
Thank you. No more questions.
Next up, Serena Sharp, a woman who knew Lori back in 2019.
When you were staying at Lori's house in Phoenix in November of 2018, did you understand her to be married?
Yes.
At that time, did you have any idea that Lori and Chad were having an affair?
No idea.
After you met Lori at this and stayed at her house, did you have any more conversations with her, texts or phone calls?
Yes.
Were you ever invited back out to Arizona?
Yes.
When was that?
That was in March of 2019 for a girls' weekend.
What was the girls' weekend going to be?
It was a few girls coming together for a girls' weekend, so.
Whose house, where was it going to be?
That was at Zulema's house, and I think from my memory, she's the one who invited me and started that girls' weekend idea.
Had you met Zulema before?
Yes.
Where had you met her?
It's vague, but I think I met her at the first Preparing a People conference I came to, which was the November 2018 here in Arizona.
Serena Sharp also talked about castings Lori and her friends discussed, where evil spirits were driven out of people.
Do you recall having Lori ask everyone to help cast out as to a specific person?
Yes.
Can you tell us who that was?
It was her husband, Charles.
Had you ever met Charles before?
Vague memory, but it was a quick, I think, meet as I was leaving Arizona for the Preparing a People conference in November. I was going to the airport, and I think he was coming in at the same time. Again, it was pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
But I think that's when we met very briefly.
So He was kind of coming home and you were leaving.
Yes.
Okay. Did this seem unusual to you to do this, to be asked to cast out as to a specific person?
Yes. But not. Did you say unusual?
Yeah, did it stand out to you, her asking you to cast out as to her husband?
Yes, it stood out to me.
During this weekend, did Lori talk to you about her husband, Charles Vallow, being possessed?
Yes, she did.
What do you recall about her talking about her husband being possessed?
I recall that she spoke about her husband being possessed by an evil spirit, and she named the evil spirit.
Do you recall what the name was?
Yes.
What was it?
It was Ned.
N-E-D? Ned?
N-E-D.
When you heard this, did that stand out to you as well?
Very much, yes. Very unusual.
Are you someone who questions things? Or
Yeah.
do you just go with the flow?
I question things.
Then the topic of zombies came up.
So, did you ever hear Lori use the term zombie?
I did.
Is that another thing that kind of stuck out to you?
Very much.
In listening to Lori, did zombie sort of did you understand that to mean someone whose body was possessed by an evil spirit?
Well, prior to this, I thought zombie was like a Hollywood thing, but she tried to relate the zombie and correlate that to the evil spirit that was inside of somebody.
Like her husband?
Like her husband, yes.
This infuriated Lori.
Do you believe that your testimony here will be accountable to God?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Sharp, how many times did we meet in person?
4.
How many one-on-one conversations during those meetings do you think that we actually had? Just you and me. Nobody else around. Just you and me.
Maybe 2.
2 conversations in our whole lives.
Maybe
just
3.
me and you.
You said during those meetings.
During the 4 times that we saw each other in person, how many times did you and I have a one-on-one conversation where other people were not in the conversation? Just me and you.
I can remember 3.
Okay. Ms. Sharp, did you see or hear or personally witness me conspire with my brother or anyone else to murder my husband, Charles Vallow?
No, I did not.
Thank you. No more questions.
Redirect.
The final witness of the week, Charles Vallow's sister and J.J. Vallow's grandmother, Kay Woodcock.
Charles was the best dad. I mean, he was always doting on him. The arrangement I figured out eventually was that if Charles was working out of town, Lori had him all by herself. And so when Charles got back to town, JJ was his to take care of, 100%.
Kay testified about the problems that arose in the relationship between Lori and Charles.
During this time when you had come out here, do you remember approximately when that was?
It's like the 1st of February of 2019, or the 2nd. It was right in there.
When you came out here, did you then speak with Charles about his concerns for his safety? Just yes or no?
About his what?
His concerns for his safety.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That's just yes. Is this the time where, well, let me ask it this time. When you came out here, did you see Lori?
No,
When you came out here, did anyone know where Lori was?
no, nobody was talking about where she was. Nobody would tell Charles where she was.
So your brother was trying to find where she was?
Yes, he was.
Where was JJ at this time?
He was with Charles, and that's one of the reasons I came out was to help him with JJ, because he was quite a handful, and Charles was a mess. He was broken. He was a broken-hearted man. Charles told me that Lori did not want JJ anymore, or Kylie, or him, and I said, okay, well, look, what if you move to Houston, and I'll be 2.5 hours away, and when you go out of town, I'll come and stay with JJ. And so he was talking about hiring a nanny, and I said, no, I will be the nanny, and I'll come and take care of him when you have to work. And it's easy enough, and you won't have to pay a penny.
Kay Woodcock then talked about learning that Alex Cox had killed Charles in July of 2019. She found out on Google.
It was horrible. I have to call my siblings and let them know. Thank you. And everybody was freaked out. I didn't know what to do. But I did call Cole back and let him know that it was true, and just was telling him, let's keep in touch. You find out something, I'll find out something. We'll let each other know. And
Did you try to reach out to Lori?
I tried calling, texting Charles. I tried calling, texting Lori. And at some point, she texted me. She returned a text, something like, I'm having to deal with a lot of stuff, and I'm busy. And she was too busy to even call his family to say that he was dead by her brother killing him. And
Take a breath. So you had tried to reach her, and she was too busy to talk to you.
yeah.
Now, everybody was anticipating the cross-examination of Kay Woodcock by Lori, but it didn't last very long.
Were you aware at all of the relationship between Charles and Tylee?
It was, let's say, it was a bit contemptuous. It seemed like there was always a lot of drama going on, and so that's all I knew. He didn't say too much about it, and I didn't pry.
But you knew that there was some kind of contention going on with those two for
I can't
a while.
hear you.
I'm sorry. You did know that there was some kind of contention going on with those two for a while.
Yes.
Okay. And you weren't really aware of the events that happened that morning, were you?
The morning of his murder?
Of July 11th?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
Because you didn't tell me.
Ms. Woodcock, did you see or hear or personally witness me conspire with Alex Cox to kill my husband, Charles Vallow?
No, but I saw a ton of evidence that did.
Thank you. No further questions.
And that was it for the first week of testimony in the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being here and being with me. I'll see you back here next time.